So, Muse's new album, Simulation Theory, is due to release midnight tonight in the UK, and I just wanted to make a little, well, I say quick, I started writing this out and it's become ridiculously long. So, I was going to do an album review, but it's turning into track reviews now because I feel like the amount I've written for the first track alone, is indeed a lot to talk about, and I don't want a stupidly long video. So, I just want to put out my thoughts. I've listened to the album a couple of times. I'm not really supposed to. I wanted to keep the surprise, but I listened to this first track and I was so excited that I couldn't contain myself. My friend sent me a link to a Google Docs somewhere, the album, and obviously I'm going to buy it, probably the Super Deluxe edition, because I want to hear all the extra tracks, probably on vinyl, because I love vinyl. So I'm not cheating myself out of spending money. I want to support Muse. I want to go see them live because I've seen them twice. Their live shows are amazing. I'm a big fan, and I just wanted to make this video because obviously you're going to see reviews in the next couple of days that are going to be from professional perspectives, so magazines and websites, and even big YouTubers who aren't fans. I always find that if I watch a video by someone who isn't a fan, I never take it as is. I always have reservations about the review, and I don't always agree, obviously. And obviously, it's entirely subjective. This is it's clearly my opinion. I'm not here to shove anything down your throat. This is just what I thought as a big fan and as a musician myself. I just wanted to put this out. So obviously, if you want to tell me what you think of this track, leave it in the comments. I'll read them all. I'll try and reply to you. We can have a debate if you want. I don't care. This is the first track on the album, Algorithm. It starts off with this. It's an excellent way to set a tone for the record, I have to say. I really like this track. As I said, this is what got me into wanting to listen to it. And, I listened to it once all the way through night before last, and then yesterday and today I've just been listening to it. My phone charge is broken, my phone's running out of battery. I don't care. I'm listening to this album. I had two free periods at the end of the day at school, all the way through, album on repeat. I love it, and this song so easily introduces this theme and the sound for the rest of the album. It's adding context for the album that makes weaker tracks on the record as singles, that were released as singles before, you listen to it, I go, I don't really like it. At some points I was really, really regretting being hyped for this album, listening to songs like Something Human and Thought Contagion, which are definitely the weakest tracks on the album, but I'll come to them. Even those songs in this context, make more sense in terms of where they are and what they're trying to do. It just kind of works for me. I listen to those songs now and I think they're not as bad in context. It's very similar to a couple of bands who have kind of changed their sound, that have had albums out really recently. Specifically I'm thinking Franz Ferdinand and Queens of the Stone Age. Franz Ferdinand, they released Always Ascending as a single. I listened to that and I'm a big fan, and I go, I don't know, I don't really know. I don't know what I think about it. I quite liked it. It was quite catchy, but I didn't know about the tone and the the sound they were going for, but with the rest of the album, everything was like that. And I was like, this works. This really works. And I really love that album. A lot of people don't like it. I really like it. Just, personal preferences, but I really like that album. And the same with Queens of the Stone Age. They released The Way You Used to Do. And the whole Mark Ronson thing, he was producing the album. And there was lots of synthetic snaps. And it was very dancey. And then The Evil Has Landed. Didn't really like that at first. And then I did. And then when the rest of the album came out, I was like, this is so good. This is honestly one of my albums of the year, maybe. It's not anymore, because better albums came out since. If anyone wants to hear my opinions on that, by the way, just let me know. But, that's just kind of what happened with this album as well, in a way, like, I don't like those songs as much as I like The Way You Used to Do, or Always Ascending. I do now. I don't know, I'll give it time, but like, Something Human, meh. I like the acoustic version more than the original, but, we'll see if anyone wants to know. No one's going to want to know, but, if anyone does, just say. So, in terms of specifics of the album, I'll go into a bit of detail now. So we've got a very simple intro. I'm going to keep on looking at my notes because I'm not going to remember this all. So you've got a very simple kind of drum beat. It's very driving. It feels like you're going somewhere. Like, you've got this drum beat. This is very simple. It sounds like it might be a drum pad or a drum machine. I can imagine Dom wanting to do that with a drum pad though. But then you've got these driving semiquavers that coming in like a synth bass, and then kind of like these chords. It sounds like they're trying to simulate strings, and the strings do come in later, but there's the bob 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 bob. It's a driving force. It keeps it consistently pushing through. It definitely wants to get somewhere as a track. It's a driving force. I don't know how else to describe it. It's pushing. It's not fast. It's not particularly fast, That's your kind of tempo. But it's got these. It's definitely getting somewhere. Now I must admit, the very introduction, when those semiquavers come in, the first thing I thought when I heard it was royalty-free, like synthwave music that people, like YouTubers, put in the outros of their songs. Like, I can imagine that just being like, "Hey guys, go and like and comment and subscribe, and here are videos that you can go check out." But then, I don't think that now. Let's just say that. After listening to the song loads and loads of times, I've been writing this script out, and I've just had it on a loop. New things have come to my head when I thought about it. I've got a page and a half of notes. It's just what I thought, and it's food for thought, and it just works for me now. But that's what I thought in the first place. So it pulled me out when I first listened to it, but in context, I see how it sets the tone. So we have these very simple drums, suits it for sure, and the synth riff comes flying in out of nowhere. It's definitely anticipated, but that wow, 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 it's very reminiscent of Uprising from the Resistance, I thought, which was was definitely one of the strongest tracks on the Resistance. So I'm not complaining about that. Probably the best, if you ask me. Well, definitely top 3. And the melody itself, it's got a nice use of jumps. It's a nice range for the keyboard. It's got some nice intervals. It's not simple enough to be boring. but not overcomplicated to just be too much. It's catchy as well. It's definitely in my head at the moment. It makes appearances throughout, so it's definitely there. That's for sure. I do like it. I really like that little riff. It's a good way to start it off. I like how Muse are keeping with the riffs, which is something I've seen artists leaning away from recently, like the new Arctic Monkeys album, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Doesn't have any riffs on it, which makes some of the tracks less memorable, because a riff, a driving melody, gets in your head if it's well written, and that is a ploy that the pop industry use. They always have a riff and it gets stuck in your head, and then you want to listen to it more, which I can see why artists and bands want to pull away from it, because I can see why it's a bit of a problem. We want to make music that's memorable without riffs, but it is a scientific fact that it will get in your head. I don't know how, I can't explain it to you, but I think it's been proven somewhere. I saw a video. I don't know how credible it was, but there is something about catchy riffs that get in your head, and you can't deny that. And it's nice to see that Muse is sticking with the riffs, because they always come up with good ones. Every single Muse riff off the first 3-4 albums has been really good. It's been really good. And even some off, the new ones. Something like Panic Station, that little bass riff, that's really funky. I really like that. I'm thinking of Reapers, and even Psycho. Psycho's not a great song, but that riff is catchy as hell. Everyone loves that riff. If you show that song to someone who's not like a great big kind of music guy, girl, I go, ooh, that's a catchy riff. And they'll come back to you later and they don't go, I've still got that riff in my head, that boom, 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 It's that. It's good. It's good. I like it. I like that they've still got these riffs and that. It's a good use. It's a good riff. It's a good riff. I really like that riff. And then we have this classical piano that comes in. You've got these arpeggiated broken chords with nice extensions. I have a bit of a problem with some of the chords in this song. It's very simple. Very simple. It's not like good old classic Muse, who there's a video I'd recommend you go and watch called How Muse Writes or Don't Write Chord Progressions. I think that's what it's called, or riffs, or I think it's called progression. But that's the thing, they are so good. Matt Bellamy is so good at writing music that you listen to it and you go, these aren't even chords. He's just making music with nothing. It doesn't feel like it's anything, but it is. And it's like, how is he doing it? How is he doing that? Which is something about this song. I worked out the chords. I can show you. So they're very it's just a G minor. Let's see if you can see this. I like that. There's a couple of extensions, that kind of thing. But then they've just got this G minor. Then it goes just F, C minor. Then it just goes up to it sounds like it could be like a Britpop song, if you play it on acoustic guitar. It could have like, Liam Gallagher singing over the top of it. Neil Gallagher? Who's Neil Gallagher? I think I was thinking Noel and Liam at the same time. And then when the arpeggiated chords come in, the arpeggiated chords are nice, that's what I was trying to say. They have nice chord extensions, they're interesting. But then it just goes. So you've got a G, E flat, and an A, and then something I do like, I really like a bridge. So D sus4 to a D. I'm a sucker for those kind of things. They're quite overused, but I like it in this context. So they're the chords. If you were looking for the chords for the song, there you go. That's pretty much it all the way through. But yeah, that's what I don't really like. I like, you know, back in the day, you'd have songs like, you know, very riff orientated, and the chords that were used in an interesting way. So that's what I have to say about the chords of the song. But I must admit that, you know, it's very simple in harmony, but in other places, like in the melody and the texture and the sonority, there are extremes. So it's a nice mixture, I guess, between, you know, you've got loads of instruments and these are layering, and the melody is nice to listen to, it's interesting, it's catchy, and then you've got these simple chords, and that's fine. It's driving it through the song, and, you know, that's fine. And also I like the fusion between kind of the classical elements and then the electronic elements. Then even the rock elements, you've got guitars that appear occasionally. So it works for me. It really does work for me, the fusion, and it's apparent throughout the album, and it's really good. It's a really good sound. So then we get to the first verse. The vocals come in, once again, soaring, and the vocals are brilliant. They blew me away the first time I listened to it. Not because they're particularly, like, amazing. I wouldn't say it's like, oh my god, did you just see that? You know, it's just a return to form for Matt Bellamy. After the past 2 albums, I was expecting, you know, like, revolt. I was expecting, like, him trying to be Freddie Mercury or an opera singer like he has done for the past album or 2, and he hasn't. It sounds like classic Muse again, which is something I really like. Something the whole album, well, except for maybe 2 or 3 songs, feels like classic Muse. And I love that. I love that. I mean, it's nowhere near the quality of something like Absolution, but you can't compare to Absolution because it's one of the best albums ever, in my opinion. And the quality of music these days is always going downhill until you find something new and fresh and good. There's plenty of great music, but nothing is quite Absolution. So yeah, those vocals for me, it's almost a sense of, like, it's like I'm sat there and I'm reminiscing. It makes me go, remember the good old days when Matt Bellamy used to sing about things that you don't really quite understand instead of politics. So yeah, I was impressed. Not exceptional, but I'm impressed as an old Muse fan. The lyrics are well written. They're interesting. They're not political as such. I mean, some of them, you can tell that there's always a political agenda in Matt Bellamy's recent stuff. There's always a bit of a story, but the lyrics, and for the whole album, there's a more kind of, it's more hopeful. It's a more upbeat album, definitely, than the last 2. I mean, Second Law was about entropy and the world ending, and Drones was about governments controlling everyone, and it's a concept album about someone who's like mind controlled or something. I didn't quite understand it. I never went into it that much, but it's not a concept album for a start. It's just good, but the lyrics are interesting and I like them. I mean, that first lyric that comes in, burn like a sleeve, what does that even mean? They're just interesting. I like it. I like thinking about it, and I will think about it more. But you know, it tells a decent story, and sets the tone, very much so. It's a bit moody. There are moody songs. You know, the last track, The Void, is very moody. I'd say this track and The Void are the moodiest songs, and but they have a sense of, you know, hope, overcoming something bad. Overcoming something bad. I'll just say that. So the melody for the verse is very good, very good. You know, Matt Bellamy knows his scales. He knows what he's doing. It's well thought out. He doesn't mess around. He's going there. He's going as high as he can. This album. Some of the tracks are like, what is he doing? The very last note has a harmony. It's not really a harmony. It's a high octave, and it's slightly subtle. You're listening to the main line, but you can hear this really high. Sorry, I need to check the time. Really high bit at the very end. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. I love it. But there was something in the melody, in the chorus, that reminds me of the last two albums. I can't quite put my finger on it. I've been trying, but it reminds me. And I won't say that it's a weak chorus, because it's got a strong hook, and it definitely wants me to listen to the rest of the song. But something about it makes me go, maybe not. I do like it. Oops. Sorry, this isn't a very professional video. I'm filming this on my phone. I wrote out this script in about half an hour. I just wanted to get my ideas out. I don't want to get a camera out. I don't want to edit this. I'm doing it in as many little takes as I can. So that's the end of my script, because I just wanted to film this video so much. But I have a few more notes left that I just want to talk about. I just wanted to say, the intro is very long. It's about a third of the song, the intro. But that's fine, because enough happens in it that makes me go, I like it. I like the intro. And then the rest of the song isn't as long. It's very simple. It's very verse, chorus, half verse, chorus, outro. That's fine. Fine with me. And there are soaring vocals everywhere, and there's stripped back sections with guitars and interesting little, you know, sounds, even samples. There are like quiet violin glissandos going, yeah, quiet guitar. There's, I think, right after the first chorus, there's a do 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 on the guitar. It's just the note, and it's not even distorted heavily. It's just quite gamey. Then everything kind of chunks back in again, and the strings come back, and that driving with the strings as well, it builds. It definitely like strips things back and then puts things back on top of it. It does it really well. I really like it. So it's a 4-minute track, and really doesn't feel that long for me. Because you look at 4 minutes on a song and you go, I don't want to sit here and listen to a song for 4 minutes. If it's an intro track, a regular person would. I won't. I mean, Feet Don't Fail Me on the Villains Queens of Stone Age album is about 5.5 minutes. You know, I really don't mind long songs as long as they are interesting. But like, to a standard consumer, they don't really like long songs. But it doesn't feel like you can show someone a 3.5-minute song and they go fine. 3-minute 40 song, fine. 3-minute 50 song, okay. 4 minutes, nah, mate. Nah, I'm not having that. But this doesn't feel as long. If you didn't see the track time, you wouldn't be bothered. It's fine. I think it's fine. And there are some cool little drum bits at the very end of the song. And that's all my notes. That's all my notes for this song. It's everything I wanted to say. It's a good song. It's a good song. I wanted to try and come up with some rating system. I wanted to put it on a spectrum, but I really can't. Because it's so subjective. There's so much that goes into it. Like, if I compared it to Absolution, it would be like a 4 out of 10 because nothing compares to Absolution. Absolutely nothing compares to Absolution. If I compared it to Black Holes and Revelations, and if I compared it to Songs on Drones, it'd be 11 out of 10 because, you know. But I think in terms of how I like it right now, this track gets an 8 out of 10 from me. Subject to change, of course. Jesus Christ, I've spent 25 minutes talking about one song. This is going to be a great little series. You can see why I didn't want to do this in one video now. I only have 29 minutes of storage on this phone. Anyway, I'm going to put this up. I'm going to see how people like it. If it gets any views at all, that is. If you want to hear more, go ahead. I've listened to the whole album. I'll try and get another one, the next song on the list, done tonight. It does take me a while to write these things, and of course it's taken me 25 minutes to record it. So we'll see. It is just gone 6 o'clock. It's very dark, but that's because it's November. And yeah, I'll do more tomorrow for sure. I've got a lot of time tomorrow. I can write some of the scripts in my free periods at school as well, so that's fine. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, guys, if you've been watching this. Let me know what you think of the track, what you think of the album. See you next time.